Okay, yeah, so do the battery holder. One there. Put that in there. I'm gonna have a see. I've already got some in there, and I don't even know where they are. So, but that's all right. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 1, 2. From in here, where's the other one gone? Ah, 3. So 3 of them in there. That's all right. And then 1 from here. All good. All right. So what you want to do with this is just. It's kind of, there's a little like tab wedge system here, so just push it forward or ease it forward. Try not to damage your air filter too much or whatever you got in there, and just pop it out. Okay, so let's have a look, let's have a wiggle, see what's connected. So I need to remove the positive first. Take that little cap off. That just pops off. That is for the diagnostics, I believe. You can do it. So again, there's a little space there between the wires, so just try and catch that, don't drop it. Okay, so it's pretty intuitive really, you know, your black wires go on the negative and red wires go on the positive. Same as pretty much any car unless they've been messed with. And I'm just going to stick a little screwdriver in there, just hold that nut. Just while I screw that screw in. Come on, you can do it. There we go, alright. So I should be able to remove that. Yeah, so battery out. Alright, so where were we? So what I'll do, I think I'll, so I can't get this out. Well, I could, but I don't really want to disconnect everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the battery tray that sits underneath, obviously the battery, and go from there. I should then be able to peel back the wiring loom, electronics, everything like that. So let's give that a go. So I believe that's is that 10mm again? No, that's an 8mm, and I'll just use an extension for that. What I do, I use my Poskitt stairs, just so easy to get down the bottom. And there is something, there's no like anything like that, so yeah, just try and use your finger to just grab the bottom and get screwed on. Same that one, there's one there. There's three screws on. 3 screws, one. One screws, and another back. That's just neat. Go on, do it. Yeah. Okay, 2. Just start with the stretchies, so just try and keep them in there. Oh, there's 3, so that should come out. So just got to pop off these fuses, and excuse me a second. Alright, so stick a screwdriver just down inside here. There's a little clip, just the same as the electrical connectors, and it should free up. You should be able to slide them off. Yeah, there you go. So push the connector and just ever so slightly ease it up, and it'll just pop off. They're interconnected. Both of these are just slip onto each other. Easy. And then just wiggle that out. Just don't pull too hard, just ease it up. That was, and there's just a little cable holder just underneath here, just pry it out. Easy enough. Okay, so we're pretty much free. Couple of bits, that's okay. Oh, I've done I got rid of the canister and the secondary air system as well, and just realised it just came in and I was bored one day, so yeah, there's plenty of videos on how to do that. Yeah, I think the latest model of the Huskies is a little bit different. So like the 2020 version, like the Huskies compared to the 690s, you know, the slightly earlier versions of the 690s, a little bit different, I think, in the end connections of the SAS modules and stuff like that. The plugs are exactly the same, but it's just where they mount back on it's just ever so slightly different, but to be honest, you just cable tie them up somewhere that's hidden and out of the elements, you know, out of the weather elements, and yeah, you should be all good. I like to wrap it, you know, something like that. If it's a permanent solution, I like to wrap it up in the it's like a silicone PVC tape. It's a self-amalgamating tape. So yeah, it's 100% waterproof, and it's fairly easy to take off. Yeah, you shouldn't have to take it off. So yeah, that's what I like to do. So I'm just sharing you my experiences and my things that I do. Yeah, so it's up to you if you want to adopt them as well. All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to take my air filter off, just to stop me getting, you know, the air filter oil and crap all over me. So I'll take that off, and I'll just put some cloth tissue or whatever inside the intake there, just stopping it and going down. Just a bit easier to work with. Yeah, so one thing that I've noticed with this this raid garage setup, the airbox setup, is these little nuts and you know, the washers and stuff like that. I think it could have been done better. Yeah, they're not great, to be honest. Some other sort of locking down device would have been better. I mean, I don't think you can fit a wing nut in there, but you know, something, I don't know, something with twist knobs and, you know, something you can just use with your fingers, I think would have been a better option, to be honest. You know, because you're just going to drop these, especially if you're doing this, you know, if you're going to be changing your air filter out in the bush, 9 times out of 10 you're going to drop the washer, you're going to drop the nut, and you're not going to have any spares. So yeah, I'll probably look at getting, you know, I'm into my 3D printing as well, so I'll probably end up designing some sort of, you know, knob to put on the end of these, and so it's a bit easier to change out. If you want to know how to yeah, obviously fit this, then Raid Garage, they have, see, nearly done it already. So they have YouTube videos and everything on their website. Right, where were we? So, okay, so I've taken that out. I've put some tissue in the intake there. Obviously made sure there was nothing down in there first. I'll probably just give that another wipe. Just because the you know, bit of oil from the air filter, sorry, and I don't really want it all over my hands and arms whilst I'm in here. And I will throw this somewhere there. Alright, so what do we want to do? So I just want to peel this back now. And so what I'm looking for now is, what do I need to do to disconnect the tank? Okay, oh, excuse me. So, so obviously I need to disconnect the fuel pump, and I believe it's a pressure regulator. Oh no, sorry, I think it's a fuel level sensor. So I think they're the only two things that I can see that I need to disconnect. Obviously I need to disconnect the fuel line, but that's easy, it's just a quick disconnect. So I'll just disconnect the wires from there. So there's one, I'll just shove stuff out of the way and I'll get the camera and I'll show you. So, hopefully you can see it. So, and I'll use the screwdriver just to point out where it is. So, that there, the end of my screwdriver, hopefully you can see it. That is the fuel pump connection. So obviously I just have to flick that tab up and pull it off. And then this side is So obviously that's the rear shock there. So this side is the, I think is the fuel level sensor. So that's just a couple of wires that comes out, and then the connection is wrapped up, or cable tied up here. So what I'll do, I'll just cut the cable tie there. I'll disconnect the fuel pump, and that should be good to go, except for obviously the fuel connection, which is just there, just this here. I just need to press that in there and disconnect the fuel there. Okay, so get my little comedy screwdriver again. See, these things always come in handy. They're you know, that's what I do. You're probably not supposed to, but you know, with old sausage fingers here, I can't really get my hands in there. So I think that, to be honest, I could probably there you go. So I just lift the tab up and just pull the wire slightly. It's probably not the best way to do it, but like I say, I struggle a little bit to get my hands and fingers in there. So just remember that connection. It's going to be pretty obvious. It's going to be pretty obvious where it goes. Same as all the other connectors. They're all slightly different. Follow the wiring. Just, you know, when you connect everything back up, lay it down and see where it lies, basically, is, you know, and then the nearest connection to that, and it's pretty self-explanatory, really. So I'll just snip that cable tie just here, remove that, get rid of that. It's definitely a handy little thing there, you know, a little pod, just to keep crap there while you're working on it. So right, and then again, just something small, just to push that tab down, pushes out, easy as that. All right, so that's just that. This here is just the overflow that comes from the cap there. It's cool, just fold it out the way, whatever you need to do. I mean, it's not a big deal. If you break it, snap it, split it, whatever, you can always get more of that stuff. It's yeah. Some people like to use the nice is it Tygon tubing, but it's just an overflow. It barely sees fuel, and I don't need the extension because there's stuff down there. And just have your fingers the other side, you know, it's literally just down here, just to steady everything. Just loosen it, and you can actually pull the whole thing out. So the clamp sits around this part here, and yeah, you can just loosen it, and the whole thing will just slip through. And then yeah, you don't have to tighten it back up, but just finger tight, just so it stays in place while you're pulling stuff out, and you know, it doesn't come loose and you drop it somewhere. Sorry, I'm trying to keep out of the way at the same time. I'm trying to show you and trying to video it. But yeah, like I say, first time doing it, so practice makes perfect, I suppose. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just disconnect the fuel line, and then I think what I'll do is I'll then get set up for draining the fuel, which I won't show you because it's just draining fuel. It's pretty boring. It's like worse than watching paint dry. Okay, so we are at a stage, so I've drained the fuel. Actually, I'll just put the cap back on. Back on just to stop them fumes. Got pretty much most of it out. I can get the rest out at a later date. I'm not going to fill the new one up anytime soon because there is some modifications that I need to do to that, which I will show you soon. So yeah, majority of the fuel's out. So what I need to do now is disconnect. I need to so disconnect the exhaust from this mounting point down here. So it's a bit of an odd one if you've never taken your exhaust off before, but there's actually two parts to the bottom tank bolting or fixing system. The screw that you can see that is attached to the exhaust is kind of a blank as well for the tank bracket. So I need to take that off, and then I can get to the inside of the bottom of the tank there, which then requires just an Allen key, and then I can undo it from the other side. So there's a nut the other side, I believe. So yeah, let's crack on with that. And I need a big Torx bit. Biggest one I've got. Not too fast. I'm not going to use it again. Bit of muscle. Just use a socket, it's any easier. I can be a bit of a gorilla sometimes, so yeah. So just keep going. There is another. There's two bolts to it. So loosen off the one that's closest to the exhaust first. Just loosen it. You don't need to take it all the way out, and then it just makes the other one a little bit easier to take out. So once you've taken it out, just yeah. So the spacer stays in. So just leave that in there. You could take the bracket off if you want. I think I'm going to, just to make life a little bit easier. You could just swing the whole thing out the way, but to be honest, I'll just take that half of the bracket off, just to make life a bit easier, and then I'll put it back on it once I've taken the exhaust fully off. I'll just put the screw back in, just because I don't want to lose that. So whilst the camera was off also, and whilst I was draining the fuel, I just put the other screws back in, just so I don't lose them, because I am going to use majority of the screws that are in here. I'm going to use for the new tank. Right, so that's that. Just slide that out of the way. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So this bracket here, so this sits up against the tank, bolts into the tank, but then this section runs through the bottom of the tank there, but it's actually it's an Allen key bolt, well, an Allen key way, if you like, which you slide in from this side, and then you can undo it from the nut the other side. So yeah, so I do have an upgrade kit for it from Raid Garage, but yeah, I haven't fitted it yet, and I probably will fit it. They reckon it's a stronger version, but to be honest, I can't see how it is any stronger. You know, it looks pretty similar to me. You know, I'm fairly familiar with different metals and materials and finishes and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll give it a go. All right. So see what size we need. I like T-bars myself. They're a bit easier to work with sometimes, especially like these sort of applications. Is that right? So that is a 5mm Allen key. Use a T-bar or some long Allen key. T-bar is probably best because you need a little bit of leverage on it. So that is just a 10mm socket for that. I'll put the extension on, it just makes it a little bit easier. I have lifted the tank up before because I wanted to just have a look at the preload adjustment, because I'm a bit of a heavier guy. A bit heavier, a lot heavier than most, and definitely a lot heavier for the standard suspension and springs. So I will be changing the springs and suspension at a later date as well. Still not sure whether I want to go with the oh, I've forgotten the name of it now, but anyway, there's an aftermarket shock manufacturer that gives you 275 millimeter or 300 millimeter of travel. I can't think off the top of my head, but anyway, so I would like more travel, but to be honest, I will probably for now I'll just operate the springs to suit my weight, and then I'll probably do the springs again once I've figured out luggage and spares and what extra weight I'm also going to be taking as well. Okay, so sorry, while I was talking, that bolt comes out this side, and then you can see it becomes loose. So, and as you can see, that whole thing can move now. So what I'll do is I'm just going to drop it down, just leave it sat down just where it was, and then I'm going to loosen off these top ones, and then just double check, make sure I've not left anything hooked up or it's not going to get caught on anything. Yeah, so we'll go from there. So I made up a couple of little toolkits and to get me by, which, you know, to be honest, they pretty much have everything in there. You know, I said I don't like the CO2 canisters, but they do come in handy sometimes. So yeah, so if you have the OEM toolkit, you should have this as well. I'm going to believe that should fit that bolt. Yeah, these are from Enduro. So these are from Enduro, the tool rolls. Yeah, they're pretty good. I never actually heard of them until I started watching Lyndon Poskitt on his channel, and I believe this is the Lyndon organizer. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I just haven't quite figured everything out yet, as in what I'm going to carry and stuff like that. So I've got to be honest, I've just got some random stuff in there, but I would say it's pretty much everything that I would need to take the bike apart. So I've got all my Torx bits here and stuff like that, and my T-bar and tyre changing tools and puncture repair kits, stuff like that. So, and obviously I'll have a pump with me as well. So yeah, so I've pretty much got everything. I just need to find the Torx bits. 7mm, so we've got a 7mm here, that should work. Let's have a look. Yeah, just fits in there, so there we go. So they're not overly tight, but just take the time. Make sure I'm not, yeah, okay. So just take the time, comes out. Probably got a bit of thread lock on them as well, just obviously because it's the main tank bolt. So have a look. There we go. That's what that one looks like. So yeah, like I said, I have the upgrade kit, but yeah, which I'll probably switch to because I think they're a different. They're an actual Allen key or an actual bolt, instead of, you know, me trying to remember to take the correct Torx bit for whatever reason I need to take the tank off. Yeah, we'll just do this side as well. you don't want to do that. So just remember to hold on to it. Okay, so that's off. There we go, tank is off. Just gonna set that down somewhere. The tank's off, and yeah, it's just these. So it was just these connections that I needed to remove. So that's my pump, and this will be my level sensor. So what I need to do is I need to transfer this stuff, so the pump, the level sensor, which I think is the level sensor, could be totally wrong here, and just, you know, these nuts and bolts and the brackets, and I need to transfer them to this new one. The only thing that I've got to do with this tank is, so obviously there's no holes here for the pump and the level sensor, so I'm going to have to drill those out, yeah, hope for the best really. What I'll do is I'll take the original ones out of here, and I'll measure everything up. I'll measure probably 3 or 4 times, you know, just to make sure I've got it right. I do have new gaskets for the pump, and I believe I've got a new gasket for the sensor as well, so that's no drama. I could actually use the old ones if I wanted to, but best practice is just to use a brand new one. So yeah, so stay tuned. I won't be doing that now, but stay tuned and see how we go.